Welcome to DOB Now Build Structural Industry session. My name is Tamika and I'm here to help you understand the process you would have done on paper versus what you would have started to do as of July 1st of this year. What I will do at first, I would set the foundation of what DOB Now is and the features and benefits of using it, who uses it, and later on in the session, I'm actually going to demo me completing a structural steel job filing at first, and then later on I will add in some concrete and show you how the TR2, TR3 process works. I know not necessarily if you're doing concrete you need a TR2 and TR3, but I'll help you understand how the system works and how those lab reports appear. And at the end, I'll show you where you could go for some more helpful material, like step-by-step guides and other videos that you will see me use within this presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to email our customer service help desk. If it can be answered right away, we will update our FAQs online, and I will show you where those are found later on. So first, again, I will describe DOB Now and talk about the modules included in DOB Now, the features and benefits of using it. I'm going to log in and set the foundation by navigating the industry portal. And then we would speak about the biggest benefit, which is initial job filings, PAs, and subsequent job filings. So what is DOB Now? DOB Now is an interactive web-based portal that will enable building owners, design professionals, filing reps, and licensees to do business with DOB online. Now, the biggest benefit is that you don't have to come down to DOB anymore, and you can file at any time at your convenience. We have 4 modules in DOB Now. We have DOB Now Build, which we will be focusing on today. We have DOB Now Licensing, Safety, and Inspections. Now, let's say we head to nyc.gov/DOB Now. We will see 2 portals. We have the public portal, and I will show you how to use this later on. You can search for information about a job filing. You don't need any username or password to do this. You can search by address, bin, borrower, block, lot, device, or licensee. On your right, once successfully registered in e-filing, that's where you would log in with your email address and password. So the top 4 benefits of using DOB Now is you'll be able to submit your job filing online. You don't have to come down to DOB anymore. You have access to those job filings or any job filing you're associated with. And because all of this is now digital and there's a status bar at the top of each job filing, you'll be able to see where job filing is at each step of the way. We also have email notifications going out to everyone associated to the job filing as well. And because all of this is digital, we're hoping for faster processing time. Who uses it? We have the applicant of record, which is like a registered architect, professional engineer, or licensee. We have special and progress inspectors and other stakeholders such as property owners, filing reps, and licensees. Now, you must go to nyc.gov/DOB e-filing in order to register, in order to log in. The process is a bit different for owners versus the other users. We have the owner completing the registration form, clicking the verification email, and then they receive a confirmation. However, the other users, they will complete the registration form, click the verification email, print, sign, date, and seal the form, submit it in person, and I have 2 addresses here, or mail, and those are the 2 addresses there, and then they'll receive a confirmation. So again, on the left, there's the public portal, but on the right, once successfully registered in e-filing, there's where you would log in. At the very bottom of that page, we have the resources to each module with a shortcut to biz in the middle. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to log in to DOB Now and just surf around the dashboard and explain some of the lingo that I'll be using throughout the demo. I would tell you how the features work and just set the tone. So when I get into the structural guidelines and the heavy set of the deck, you would have more understanding of what I'm talking about. All right, so now I'm on, let's say this is a fake environment. It doesn't probably look exactly like what you see, but it's close enough. So let's pretend that I'm on nyc.gov/DOB Now. I have my public portal on the left here. I'm going to do my email address, and I'm going to log in right now as the applicant of record. Now, if you're having problems logging in here, you can scroll to the bottom and you would see a need more help, contact us. It's probably because your e-filing isn't successfully registered, so you may need to contact customer service there. But I'm going to log in. On logging in, I would come to DOB Now Build on the left, DOB Now Safety with boiler, elevator, and facades. But we're going to use Build today. And then I would come to my dashboard. So on my dashboard, my name and the email address I'm logged in as will be on the top right with a need help and sign out shortcut. Across the top, there are action buttons. You'll most frequently use your job filing button and your home button. Your My Job tab will be the first tab you'll see on logging in, and it consists of all the job filings you're associated to or all the job filings that you've created. But the tabs are usually filtered by the name of the tab. So all your work permits will be in your My Work Permits tab, your AHVs, and so forth. All right. You could also search for a job by number. Back on your My Jobs tab, you can also filter by work type. Just remember to clear your filter because you could possibly be viewing only a particular work type and you're looking for something else. So if I click structural, you would see all of my structural jobs. And then each column is also filterable. So I could do, I could do approved, and all of my approved job filings would come up. Now on each job filing, there are also actions. So on this one, I can do subsequent PA work permit, and so forth. Some of them you won't see an action because probably there's a PA on it still pending, or something is wrong with the initial. So in order to create a job filing, you'll click plus job filing, and you would see a list of all the available work types in DOB Now. Now, some of these job filings can be filed together, such as construction fence, supported scaffold, and shed. So these could be grouped together, or you can do plumbing, sprinkler, and standpipe, and you won't be able to select anything else. All of the other work types are singly filed. So like if I select antenna, I can't do anything else. So I'm going to do structural and click submit. And now you would see that all of those paper forms that you're used to are now tabs on the left here. So your PW3, TR1, those are now tabs. And within each tab, there are collapsible headers. So here for location information, we have collapsible headers. So before I actually complete a structural job filing, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and discuss some of the guidelines around structural before I actually do one. All right, so because we don't have all of the work types available in DOB Now Build, I built a little cartoon or process flow to help you understand what your options for filing in BIS versus using DOB Now Build. So I have a scenario here where I have a new building or alt one job filing, and it's a 1 and 2 family home. Now, depending on if it's the same applicant of record or not, you have an option. So if it's the same applicant of record, I'm here now on the blue boxes, file in BIS. You could file in BIS, include the mechanical or structural details on your general construction plans, or you could file the GC in BIS and then do the mechanical or structural in DOB Now Build. All right. However, if it's not the same applicant of record or 3 family and other, you have to do the new building or GC in BIS and then the mechanical or structural in DOB Now Build. Now, if you're wondering, if you do decide to do the general construction over there and the MSST in DOB Now Build, there are some fields where you could keep it together. So when you actually see me go through the job filing, I'll show you exactly where these fields show up. And it's after you first save, you would see these two boxes where I have the red outline, these two questions. You would say yes, and then you would type the job numbers in there. If you have more than one, you will use a semicolon to separate. So let's talk now about the biggest benefit of using DOB Now, which is adding on subsequent job filings. Now it looks a little bit different from, it works a little bit different from how you do today for subsequent. You have to wait until the initial is approved before you could add on an additional work type. However, if you do not want to wait, you could still file it separately. And what you would do, that same field that I showed you previously, you would add that additional job filing number right there underneath DOB Now biz related numbers. You could add that number there as well if you do not want to wait. So here I have a bin 1234. I log into biz to build, and I do a minor alteration, let's say for plumbing sprinkler, and I receive my job number of M00123-I1. Now it says I1 at the end, and I'll also explain this a little bit later because this is my parent job filing or my initial job filing. All right. I received 2 work permits, even though I did it together, because remember I said you could do plumbing, sprinkler, standpipe together, or you could do fence, scaffold, shed together. So here I did plumbing, sprinkler on my initial. I received my 2 work permits. A couple of days later, I did some minor revisions now to my plumbing job. And again, now look here, my job filing number didn't change, but now it ends in P1. A few days later, I decided to do some mechanical work. Again, my filing number didn't change, but now it says S1. And before that initial job got signed off, I added on some concrete. And now my job filing number ends in S2. So this is really just to show you how you could keep all of your job filings all together. Some people didn't see the benefit of it. If you do not want to wait until your initial is approved in order to add on a subsequent job filing, you could just file it separately and then tag the job using that field I showed you on the job filing in DOB Now build. So again, the ones that could be filed together, plumbing, sprinkler, standpipe, or scaffold, shed, and fence, all the others, you have to do them separately. So now you should be able to describe what DOB Now is, the modules included in DOB Now, which is build, safety, inspections, and licensing. We spoke about the features and benefits. You don't have to come down to DOB anymore. You can see where your job filing is at each step of the way. I logged in and I showed you the dashboard. And we spoke about subsequent and PAs. I would go over the guidelines for that later on as well. So now I'm going to get into the heavy set of guidelines for structural. I'm going to speak about what you did on paper versus what you're going to do digitally now. I'm going to go over the filing review types. I'm actually going to complete a concrete job filing and a steel job filing. I'm going to go through corrections, responding to objections, scheduling appointments, view, print, and renewing work permits. We could do L2s now in the system as of July 1st. PAA guidelines, I'll go over subsequent again, AHVs, LOCs, and I'll remind you where you could access our YouTube channel and helpful material at the end. So current versus your future now as of July 1st, 2019. So if you were filing a job containing any of these here, you would have done a structural job filing, which would have been concrete, aluminum, masonry, etc. You would have done that on paper by selecting 6D, and then you would have typed in structural there. Now this is now going away. There's no more 6D. You'll be clicking plus job filing. You'll select structural like I did in that first video, and then click next. Then you'll be able to define the structural work being proposed, and you could also multi-select these options, and you'll see that when I demo. So again, there's no more 6D. That's going away. You have to tell the system that you're doing a structural job filing at first, and then you'll be able to multi-select your work being proposed. So the paper PW1 form, as you know it, is now a tab within the system, and those sections off of that PW1 is now within a job filing electronically. You don't have to worry about if you're forgetting to do something or leaving out something, because the system would only display the fields that you need. So by you telling the system that it's a structural job filing out front and clicking submit, you wouldn't see questions about a boiler or an antenna, because the system already knows that you're doing structural and some of the fields don't apply, versus where you had the paper and you had to figure out what you're doing. Also, your technical reports, they are also digital now. Based on what you've entered, the system will say, okay, you need to do this inspection. You cannot delete those inspections because the system is telling you you need to do it based on what you said you're doing in all of the tabs before that section. All right, and you'll understand it more when you actually see me do the demo. So your paper TR2, again, that's also going away. It will be now within the system under the technical report section there. You see I have a little screenshot of the TR3. And I know you don't need the TR2 all the time. So we have some triggers in the system, and based on how you answered those questions, the system will know if to display these TR2 or TR3s. Also, it depends on the type, filing review type. If you're doing prof cert versus standard plan, it will not show based on if the job needs to be approved before or after. So also your paper TR3 will go in under your technical report tab there on the left. If you're doing prof cert and you added the work permit, the TR3 will appear on the first round of completing your data entry. However, for standard plan and prof cert without the work permit, you have to wait until the job is approved and the system will refresh and update, and then the TR3 will appear for the lab director to add those mixes. Technical report, again, it's also going away. It's now a tab there within the system. And remember, I said that the system will display the specific inspections based on what you've entered. This is an example here for steel. These are the special and progress inspections that the system said I needed to do based off my data entry. To help understand some of the technical reports, what I did, I created a table so you could see for each subcategory the inspections that the system will display. So here, let's take concrete. If you read across, you have to do TR3 and TR2 and final. You could do final for all. And again, based on your answer, you may not even have to do the TR2 or TR3 for concrete. So again, all of the paper forms that you've used to submit, they're now within the system. Anything that you uploaded to Biz is now within the system. Where do these forms go? So the document section. So most of the paper forms that you would have, not forms, documents you would have submitted along with your paper forms, it would go where I have number 3 as a required document. Now these required documents again are auto-populated by the system based on the answers or data you've entered. So the screenshot, I have plumbing, sprinkler, standpipe. It asks for all of those sketches and so forth. Now, if you have any additional supporting document you think we may need, you can upload that where I have number 2. So again, no more paper submission for documents. It's now found within the Documents tab. The system will display the documents you need. Now, not only there, you also have the option to waive or request documents. Now I know that I said earlier on you cannot waive inspections or defer inspections. However, you can for documents. You could scroll over to the select action column and the system will display any action that's permissible on each document. So of course for your plans you will not see this option because you cannot waive or defer your plans. But here I have lowest floor elevation and I have the option to request a waiver. For some, you may see request waiver and request deferral, and then for some, you might just see request deferral. So the system will guide you. Also, you could see it all says the prior to column. So I need to upload some prior to approval, prior to LOC, prior to applying for my work permit. So it also tells you when you need to upload these documents. Now you have to upload that TPL1 form, which is the only paper you need to keep nearby right now, which is your electronic seal and signature. You store it somewhere like on your desktop where you'd always find it. It's valid for 1 year from the date on it, and you would upload that every time your role asks you for the seal and signature. So in your technical report tab, you would see that there, and also if you're doing a work permit, it will ask you for the contractor seal and signature. You will upload that form there. So that's the only paper you're keeping nearby on your desktop. When it's time to upload, you would upload that there. We also send out some instructions via service notice for replacing that BIS number. You're going to put your DOB Now job number on the plans, and then there's some other guidelines around that too here as well. So once again, all of the forms that you would have submitted will be now found within the system. You will now submit that digitally. Also, that TR2, TR3 process, which I'll get into shortly, will also be within the system. All your fees are also now paid online. Anyone associated to a job filing can pay. So let's talk about the roles and responsibilities within a structural job filing and who could do what. So within the roles, we have the applicant of record, which is like the master. They could do anything and everything within a job filing. That applicant of record could assign 2 delegated associates, which is a filing rep class 2, PE or RA. Then we have the owner, filing rep class 1, special and progress inspectors, and then if you're doing concrete and you need that TR2, TR3, we have the labs, the concrete producer, and the quality manager. So what I did for each role, on the left, I have everything they could do. And then on the box on the right, I have all of the pain points or questions that we always get, just to clarify the things that they allowed only to do or what they can do. So the applicant of record is the only role allowed to upload their own sealed and signed TPL1 form, submit the PAA or job filings to DOB. Then I said they could assign up to 2 delegated associates, and they could also upload the DPL1. They can't upload the DPL1 form, complete attestations, or submit the job filing for the applicant of record, but they could also complete all the data entry and so on. The owner, I know as of the past couple releases, the owner's attestation used to get wiped out. That doesn't happen anymore. The owner just signs once, and then changes could be made and they don't have to reattest. They can also assign a representative to act on their behalf, and they could get help with that by visiting a DOB branch. We have over 10,000 registered owners thus far in the system, and they're getting through with this, so fear not. If you have concerns about having like a 93-year-old owner who doesn't know how to use a computer. Then we have a filing rep class 1 or preparer, and they could also do all the data entry, resolve objections. They could schedule and attend meetings. However, they just can't attend those meetings solely. Then we have the special and progress inspector, and they do the technical reports by just clicking on the tab. They sign by checking a box, and then they upload their own TPL1 form or seal and signature form. So no more paper TRs, it's now done electronically. Now, as we get into structural and the concrete work, there are 3 new rules which probably didn't use e-filing before, which is the director of the license testing lab of the both forms, the concrete producer, and the quality manager. So you have to get the word out that they have to register in e-filing before they get associated to a job or try to log in. So they would, the only rule is that you can't have the same lab director on both forms or both tabs. And then we have the concrete producer again. They would complete the concrete design mix or the TR3P as a quality manager. Again, remind these rules, they must go to nyc.gov/GOB filing in order to register and get access to the system. So the job filing process. At a high level, this is exactly what you're going to see me do when I log in myself. I'm going to pretend that I've successfully registered for e-filing, log into the portal, complete all the tabs that I showed you, everyone associated to the job filing will file. I'll play all those rules today. I wouldn't show you how to pay. I'll pretend that I'm NYCHA because paying didn't change. It's just like if you're checking out online. And then you'd see me preview to file, which is like a higher level bird's eye view of the job filing, overall job filing. I'll go through each page before I come to a final attestation, and then I'll click submit or file to DOB. What's also new, if you haven't used DOB Now as yet, is the naming conventions. So we have M here in this example to represent the borough. Notice that X is for Bronx, B is for Brooklyn, just a reminder. We have the sequence number, which is auto-generated by the system. And then we have I1 at the end in this example to show you that it's the initial job filing. Remember, you could only have one initial. That's your parent. You could have as many subsequents or PAAs. Your work permit is like a collaboration of all of these features, components, and notice ST is now your new abbreviation for all structural job filings. So you'd see ST at the end there. Now, based on your filing review type, remember I said there's a status bar at the top of your job filing. The status bar will reflect the statuses for each filing review type at the top of each job filing. Every point the status changes, everyone associated to the job filing will receive an email notification, and it looks something like this. And now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to demo me completing a structural steel job filing, and you could also find the video for this online. Our YouTube channel, you could just type in DOB Now and you'll see a bunch of other videos as well regarding structural, mechanical as well. All right, so because this is the same video that I have out on YouTube, I have to fast forward a little bit because I recapped the slides that they wouldn't probably have seen. So yes, I'm going to do a structural steel job filing here. So I'm going to click plus job filing and select structural, click submit. Can't select anything else. This is just a reminder that if you're doing 1 and 2 family homes and it's the same applicant of record, you can do the GC in Biz and you could add your MSSD details on the plans, or you could do it separately and then tag it back in the system. So I have all the tabs on the left here. All of my paper forms are gone away. And now I have these sections that are collapsible. I have the red asterisk as required fields, as you see here. And then grayed out fields are either read only or they auto-populate. So you'd see how it works as I complete it. So I'm typing in my address here. I'm doing 110 Maple Parkway, Staten Island. I put my block and lot. Even if you get your block and lot wrong, the system would prompt and give you the correct answer for you to replace. You add your work on floors. Depending on your location, you may need to do the description of location. It may be required. You could add more work on floors if you need as well. You'll see a checkbox at the top once you've completed a section as well. So now I'm going to add my stakeholders. I have the applicant's email being entered here, and I must click the email in the blue drop down. Now this blue drop down, notice it would auto-populate the fields for first name and last name there and the license number for license type because it's pulling from e-filing. So if you're not getting that blue drop down, it's because that person's email address is not successfully registered in e-filing. The same rule applies to owner or any email address you're entering in a system. You must click it from the blue drop down to help with that pull from e-filing to fill those auto-populated fields. So again, here, based on what you've entered, the system would know what to display. I'm not going to add a filing rep, it's not required. And I'm going to move on to filing review type. And here you would see the rabbit hole sometimes that the system will display based on what you select. So I said, yes, it showed me the fields of violation. I'm going to do new work here. I'm going to do my filing review type as standard plan, and I'm going to do structural. I cannot uncheck structural. If I want to change my mind and do antenna, I'll need to discard this job filing. Now you only need to select complete 1, 2, and 3 in order to get a job number, just so you know. You could leave and come back next 3 years. This job filing will not expire. This is how it works. And here is where you would enter your estimated job cost, and you would see the fields here after your first save to tag your related biz or DOB Now job numbers if you're doing a separate job and you didn't do a subsequent. So I'm completing all the fields here. I'm just randomly saying no. If it's grayed out or you won't be able to answer, it's because the system knows the answer already, or it knows that it doesn't apply to the job filing you're doing. So I'm completing job description now. Asbestos abatement compliance. I'm just showing you the options before I select exempt. And then comments are required, and this is where you put your comments if you're doing a PA, by the way. Now notice when I click save, you see my status bar and some other changes. So here I cannot change my location or filing review type. The system was just warning me. Now you can see at the back, once I click OK, the status bar is there with my standard plan statuses. My application highlights is right on the right side there, all my fees and a summary of my job filing cost. And then on the left, I have S for Staten Island, my generated number, and my I-1 as my parent job filing. So now I could leave and return at any time to complete this now that I have a job number. So zoning information is now out of the PW1 section, it's by itself. We have existing in the middle, and we have proposed at the end there for each question. So I'm just going to go through the filing and complete any old thing here. I'm not going to do concrete. I'm going to do structural at first so you can see the smooth end-to-end process before I make it complicated and do concrete. So seismic, design category, occupancy classification. So I'm just completing all of the fields here. Building type, building code, structural footprint. And I'm going to hit save as a best practice at the end of each section. I'm just locking in all the details so the system will display the appropriate fields. Here, prefab voice. I'm just going to say no. And here is where you can multi-select your work being proposed. Depending on what you select, the system may ask you for more details. And you'd see when I do concrete later on, you see it asks you for those questions, which are like triggers for the TR2, TR3 process. So right now, I'm just going to select steel and move on. So I selected steel and I'm heading to my PW3. I'll click plus add to do that math. Remember that it must be equal to your estimated job cost. So I just put 2 by 5 there, and the total cost. I can add more, edit or delete if needed. Now technical report, again, it's not on paper anymore. The system will display the special and progress inspections you need. So here I did steel, so it said I needed to do structural steel details and my final. You don't have to enter the email address of the inspectors, but I am going to do so. You could also add inspections by clicking that add button and selecting more inspections if you want to add more. So I'm going to select edit, and the same rule applies for this email address being entered. Must be registered in e-filing. And what this is doing by me entering this email address is just helping the inspector to see it. When they log in on their dashboard, it will just appear. I cannot sign for them, so it's blocked. As you see there, I click update, and I do the same thing for progress inspector. You could enter different email addresses if you have more than one inspection as well. Here I'm just entering the same email, so I won't have to log out and log in as more than one person. So I'll do both when I switch roles. So you're just seeing me here doing the same thing again. I'm going a little faster, must click the email address from the blue drop down and continue. So documents, right, so here you'll see me, the system asks for DPL plans and my structural peer review report. All of it is required. I can't waive or defer anything except my structural peer review report. See, I could waive that. And that's how you would see the waive or deferral action there. If you have any supporting documents, you click add new document and you'd add those documents like I did there. I'm not gonna add any. I'm gonna just upload what the system asks me for. You'll click choose file, you'd save it somewhere convenient and upload it. So I'm going to repeat that for the 3 documents there. So I'm repeating those steps. And then I'm going to save and move on to statements and signatures. All right, so now as I'm on statements and signatures, I signed as the applicant of record and the checkbox appeared. You could also answer these questions on behalf of the owner. They would just verify that it's correct when they log in and they would sign there. So next, I'm going to pretend to pay after I save here, because I didn't, I'm not going to actually pay. So you'll see here, it says 188. You confirm, go to CityPay and you pay. And I suggest to do this at this point because all the details are entered. So this price shouldn't change. So now I'm going to pretend to be the owner and actually sign in and do so. So now I'm pretending to be the owner. The filing is on my dashboard because I just created it as the applicant. And just good to know, you could always click view filing in order to view a summary of everything that's entered instead of going through each tab if you want to look at what everyone entered. So when you click view filing, I'm using Google Chrome here. It comes up like this and you can flip through the pages before you actually sign for anything. So this is just a good to know. So as the owner, I'm now ready. I confirm that these answers here are correct. I would go back to here and sign and click save, and that's it. That's all the owner is doing. So now I'm going to go in as a special and progress inspector. I use the same email address for both inspectors, so I would be doing the TR for special and progress. So, all right. I went a little too fast there. So I'm in now. I'm going to double click and open. Again, you could use refiling if you need to. I'm going to select my role first in order to enable that edit icon. So on both roles, I'm going to click edit, make sure everything is correct, and then I just check a box. No more paper TRs. This is how it's going to be done. No paper, no lines. You come back out and you click required and you upload the DPL1 form. So this is what the inspector will do. Again, the applicant could either call them and give them the number, or you could also enter the email address for them. I'm going to repeat the same thing on the final, so you're getting a chance to see me do it again. And now I'm uploading my TPL once more. And if you're also the applicant and the inspector, you need to also re-upload the DPL1 form in all areas, in documents and in the TR1 section. So now I'm going back in as the applicant of record, because that role is the only role allowed to submit the job filing to DOB. And here I just have a reminder of that before I actually do it. I double click, open the job filing, and I click preview to file. Now, if this doesn't pop, if the preview to file window doesn't pop up, it's because somebody forgot to do something, and the system will actually highlight in red boxes what you left out, just as if you were completing a form online. You have to go through each page till the end. So I have 13 pages here. I'm just going to go forward through each one, and then I would come to the end where there's a final attestation for me to submit this job filing to DOB. So I'm going to do that. Click File, click OK. So it's now successfully sent to DOB. And at this point, the status has changed to pending CPE ACP assignment. Now, you have a short time frame to make a change based on the status. So before it's assigned to a plan examiner, you'd be able to make a change. So it must be in pending plan examiner assignment or pending pursuit QA review. Before it gets assigned, you have a quick time frame to make a change before it's assigned. So the system will tell you which fields are editable, and you would just see it will either be grayed out or it wouldn't allow you to. You would go on the job filing, scroll across, select correction, confirm you like to make a correction, and it's free of charge. You just have to do it as soon as you realize there's a mistake, and always remember to click resubmit. So you'll see correction in progress in orange once you reopen that job filing. You would reattest once those changes are made. So I pretended to make some changes there, and I resubmitted the file to DOB. So now let's go over some structural concrete guidelines, as we just successfully did steel. So again, there are triggers buried throughout the system in order to help us understand if you need to do a tier 2 or tier 3. So if you select concrete, you'll see these questions display, and you would see that as I do the demo. So, also another example is like if I do R3 and I also say no for some of these questions, that tier 2 and tier 3 will populate, tab will show up. This is just a reminder again that the tier 3 is based on your filing review type when you would see it, and you really have to trust the system, because if you don't see something, it's either you don't need it or it's not time to display that option as yet. So just answer the questions as honestly as possible, and then the system will guide you after that based on what's needed. Because concrete has different stages and different people logging in and out, that tier 2, tier 3 back and forth, I built a data entry stage process flow here to help you understand. So basically 1 and 2 is what you just saw me do when I was doing steel, with just the applicant of record completing the regular tabs, the owner went in and signed, and we filed to DOB. Now the stage at the top, I have prior to plan approval, so that's what happens. We have prior to permit and then prior to sign off now for concrete. So after that job filing comes back approved, let's say this is standard plan, the lab A on the tier 2 would go in and say, yes, I'll be the one doing the test results. Then we have lab B saying, yes, I will add these 20 mixes. The concrete producer would bless it where I have 5. And then we have the applicant of record, like a check each step of the way, going in and blessing the mixes. So they would go in and check that box. And then once they submit that work permit right there and then as well, they would also wait for it to be issued. Then lab A would go back in where I have 7 prior to sign off, enter the results of those mixes. Then we have the concrete producer from on that tier 3 blessing those mixes. And again at the end, we have the applicant of record blessing the mix with or without exceptions, and I will show you how that's done as well. Because there's so much in and out with amongst the rows, we've built in a tracker to show the progress on the tier 2 and the tier 3. So for here, I have the tier 2 being displayed. 4 steps are in green that are completed, the 3 that are grayed out are not completed. And because you may have more than one mix and you necessarily have different labs on each mix, you can see a summary view of all of the mixes. So here are 2 mixes, so there's a tracker for each one. So again, let's take each one of those stages and you would see me actually do this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to log in, actually do the structural and do concrete, and I'm going to submit the job filing to DOB. So let's do that. All right, so once again, because this video is out on YouTube, I recap some of the important slides before I actually got started. So I'm just going to fast forward through that a little bit before I actually start creating the file. And it really goes just as how I started to do the steel, but now you'll just see me select concrete as my scope of work. So I'm back on my dashboard. I'm going to select plus job filing, say structural, click submit in order for my job filing to display. And this time I'm only going to complete the sections that I need to generate a job number, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just skipping through this a little faster, entering the applicant's email. I'm just fast forwarding. I added the owner, selected my filing review type, and right now in those circles that I displayed, we are on step 1 and 2. So I'm in as the applicant, I'm selecting concrete. And actually, one of the triggers you would see is in the occupancy classification field. When I select R3, that's one of the deciding factors. I'm going to select R3 as residential, 1 and 2 family homes. construction classification. I'm just putting any old thing here. And notice the TR2 or TR3 isn't showing up as yet on the left there. It depends on what I say now, and I click save. Also in my scope of work, it would then show up there. I'm entering just any old thing here. I don't know the real answers that you guys use. I was just using my discretion and trying to populate the field so you guys can see how it actually works. So here, I'm going to click save as a best practice to lock those answers in and move on to my scope of work. But this time I'm going to select concrete and answer the questions here. And again, it's when I click save here, then I would see my TR2 appear. So I'm going to say yes for place footings supported on earth or rock. I'm going to say no here for these. And I'm going to click save. Now notice what in the technical report section what happens. My TR2 now appears. My TR3 hasn't appeared as yet because I chose to do standard plan, and I'm not going to add a work permit until after it's approved. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to enter the email address of Lab A. This is the person who would provide the results, and I'm just adding his email address to the job filing so that it would show up on their dashboard. Once the job filing is approved, they would log in and they would attest and take responsibility for providing the test results. The same rule applies. They must be registered in e-filing for you to get that blue drop down to complete those auto-populated fields. All right. You would head to the bottom of this page. The owner will also this time sign. If you're wondering why this background was yellow, it's because there's so much logging in and logging out between all of the roles that we place this yellow background in order for people to have an idea of where they should sign when they log in, because we have multiple people signing on different pages throughout the system. So when you log in, you would see the different applicants. So here the applicant just sign in. When the owner sign in, they would see a yellow background on their attestation and they would check the box there. So you'd see me do that as I work throughout this file, and I will click save as a best practice. This is also the tracker that I told you about. So what I just did, I did the applicant's attestation and I tagged who the lab director was. So that's why I have 2 green check boxes there, and I'm going to click save. Moving on, I would complete this file as I usually would, like you saw me do just now with the documents and the statements and all of that. And I would move on. So that's what I'm going to do there. So I'm going to just skip forward because you just saw me do that. I'm attaching my documents. And then I'm going to sign, and then I'm going to log in as the owner and also sign. So I'm just fast forwarding here through those. So now I'm going to go in as the owner. But this time, because I'm doing concrete and I have a TR2, I have to sign in 2 places. I have to sign on the TR2, and I also have to sign on the overall statements and signatures section. So I'm in as the owner, I'm heading to the TR2 section. Remember the bird's eye view, they could use that as well. I can't sign anywhere else, and now the owner section is in yellow because it's where I'm going to sign. I click save, and then I move on to the overall statements and signatures, and I save there as well. And those check boxes will appear. So this is me simply completing steps 1 and 2 prior to approval, and then the applicant will submit the job filing like I did when I clicked preview to file and submitted the job filing. So I'm just fast forwarding through here. Since you saw that it's successfully sent, Again, you could make changes if you need to quickly before it gets assigned. So now you're going to see me actually log out and log back in and attest. So before I do that, I have a process flow to explain what I'm actually going to do. Tier 2, the Lab A director would take responsibility. Then the Tier 3 will now be available since I would approve the job with off the screen. They'll add up to 20 mixes. The concrete producer would go in and bless. Then the applicant of record would also check a box to take responsibility on those mixes, and I suggest that they do the work permit there before logging back out. So let's see me do that now. All right, and again, because I have this video out on YouTube, you could check it there at DOB Now. So now I'm in as Lab A, and I'm simply double clicking to open the job filing, and again, you could click view filing if you want to see the overall details of the job filing instead of clicking through each tab. And that section now is in yellow because it's that's the role that's working on the file, and they simply check this box and click submit, and that's the end of their role for now. Now remember, I said the system works to display things at different stages of time. So what would happen is after the results have been added, the same page will refresh in order for them to add the results of those mixes. So the tracker tells you everything that's done. So now as they hover over the tracker, they will see they have to wait until the mixes have been added to proceed. So now I'm going to go in as Lab B and add those mixes, sign off on those mixes. The concrete producer is also going to sign, and the applicant of record will also attest as well. So I'm going to fast forward through this because this is also available. I'm going to do sections 4, 5, and 6 now in this video. So from the dashboard, the applicant or anyone associated on the PW1 could enter the email address of the lab director completing the mixes. So now that the TR3 is available, you may not have to scroll down, but my screen size is small, so I had to scroll down. You click add concrete design mix. The labs won't be able to add themselves. You have to add them, or anyone on the PW1 could enter this email address. And the same rule applies. You must select it from the blue drop down. And the same rule also applies to concrete producer. The person has to be registered in e-filing. The lab director could also enter this email address. It doesn't have to be the applicant. You will also able to see a tracker. Now, the tracker on each mix, the green is for the app. When the job filing is ready to get submitted, the green line will appear on the left there. When each lab director logs in, it would be in orange if they're associated to the mix, because you could have different labs on a mix, and it will be grayed out if they're not associated to the mix. They would also only see update and track. They won't see a delete because they won't be able to delete any mixes. Only the applicant could do so. So I'm just hovering here to show you the key and what it represents. So this is orange because I'm associated, and again, if you hover, you would see that everything about this mix right now is incomplete. So as I complete each step, I will hover over the tracker so you can see how the tracker works. So I'm going to log out now as the applicant, and I'm going to move on to the lab director heading in to enter those mixes. So I'm in now as the lab director, and I'm going to double click to open the job filing and start to add my mixes. Again, you could click view filing if you'd like to see the overall details of the job filing, or head straight to the TR3. You'd click on to update. And it looks a bit different. Before you only saw one collapsible header, now it has 4. The first one is already completed by the applicant of record who tagged them on the mix. And they'll click add now, and then you would see all of the fields that were on paper before to add those ingredients. Based on prior sessions I've attended, I know certain fields, you guys need certain fields added, more of them, so we're working on that. But for now, this is what we have as of July 1st. And again, I don't know the answers for these fields. I am just entering any random information that may be needed. So I'm just adding demo. So I'm doing all of the required fields like final aggregate, course aggregate, but I just want to really just show you how it works here. So I'm just completing all of the fields here, just adding demo. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. So once I'm finished adding here, I'll click Save Mix, which you see to the bottom there of the screen. Let's go a little bit bigger. And then you keep repeating this, and if you have more than one mix, you keep adding to the list of mixes. So I'm going to click Save here. And then I'm going to add my report. So I'll click the upload document, and you'll do that as if you were uploading any other document. It's the same process. And then you would sign, and don't sign this box unless you don't sign this box unless you are sure that you're done with all of your mixes. And remember to pay attention to the sequence, because the concrete producer can't go in and log in and attest before the mixes were added. So now I'm in as the concrete producer. I'm heading to that same mix in order to attest. So you'll see me do that now. I'm clicking update. And I could view what the mixes are, and then head over to this tab and select this box and click submit. And then there's a third tab now where you would see at the top where the applicant will also log in, and they would confirm that this is correct. On the tracker, as you see here, only the applicant's attestation is missing. I double click. I'm back in as the applicant. Concrete design mix, and I'm going to click update. Check this box and submit. Now you would see that the line on the mix is green on the left there, because this mix, everything associated to it has been completed and it's ready to go. While I'm in as the applicant, I suggest that you guys do the work permit here and send that off. And I'm now going to skip to the part where it's 789. I'm going to see that my work permit got sent in. DOB reviewed it, it's good to go. So now I'm going to actually go back in and let the Lab A director enter the test results. So let's see how that's done. And now as Lab A on the TR2, I'm going to double click to open the file. Notice it says permit entire. I hover the tracker and realize that it's time for me to scroll down, and the page looks a bit different. It now has this table. If you had more than one mix, you would have seen all of the mixes listed there. I have to scroll across because my screen is small, and now I would enter the results. In a prior session, someone spoke to me about the cylinder ID and that you need to put more than one. So yes, you can put more than one. They're separate, but with a comma. You could add up to 3 cylinder IDs if you want there. And enter your result. And then you see the other tab there for the concrete producer. You would see me, I would log in and also complete that as well. And then once I've done with that list, I would scroll to the bottom of that same yellow box and I would check a final attestation. And then submit. So what I just did was number 7. Now I'm going to do number 8 and 9. So now I'm in as the concrete producer. I'm going to head to the TR2 this time. I'm going to open that same mix report. And I'm going to check that box after I view the results on the previous tab and click submit. Do not click submit if you're not in agreement. You guys can work out that outside the system and then come back and attest. And now I'm going to do the last step, which is 9 of the applicant attesting with or without exceptions. I'm going to show you how that's done. So I'm heading to the TR2. And at the bottom, there are two check boxes. One is for without exceptions, one is with exceptions. Now, if you check the second box, which is with exceptions, the document section will update, or tab will update for you to upload that exception report, which would start off a back and forth between you and the Borough Commissioner until it's approved. Your status bar will also change to Borough Commissioner review. But I'm going to say everything is good to go. And then I'm going to click submit in order to submit this mix. And there you have it. I did processes 1 to 9 for the TR2, TR3 process. So everything after that will go back to the same. You'd wait for inspections to be conducted, and then you will request LOC. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and talk about some other guidelines. So let's continue with responding to incomplete objections or QA failure statuses and scheduling appointment with plan examiners. So you may receive an incomplete status. Let's do QA first. For various reasons, you'll have to click in the comments in history to see the reason. So you would see a red exclamation mark like what I have here. If you do have an incomplete status, even if it's an objection, you also see that exclamation mark as well. But for QA failure, you would go to history and then trace history, and you'll see something like this, which is like a subway stop with the stage on the left and then the reason for your incomplete status on the right. It looks pretty much the same for both filing review types, but for each status here I just have a picture. You would get one of these if your plans is not in accordance, incorrect document, or you made a typo and you need to complete proper data entry. However, for objections, it works a bit differently. You would see a new tab on the left titled Objections/Appointments, and then you will click Appointment if you want to see that plan examiner. Now, this appointment button works a bit funny where it only is enabled if the plan examiner requested to see you. If not, you'd have to do it through the PR11 form out on the customer service website, and I would show you where that is at the end of this presentation. But if you do see it enabled, you could click that button and then choose the date and 20-minute slot where you would visit that plan examiner online. They would send you a link to where you would digitally do the video call. Minutes before your meeting, you would get that link. Because I don't have a video for that, you're going to locate the job filing, open it, for QA failure that is, and at the bottom you would see a little window appear with the reason, and you would change it to resolved if resolved, and do your changes and then click resubmit. For objections, you would head to that tab that I just showed you, and you would go to the objection and you would toggle the status and click resubmit. So work permits. So work permits are also now digital. You can print these work permits from within a job filing, from out on the dashboard, or from within the public portal without even logging in. This screenshot I have here is for within the job filing. You would head to work permits. You would see the work permits that you applied for, and whichever one has been approved, you would see a print icon where I have number 2, and then it would pop up depending on your browser, and then you'll click print. I have a cartoon here to help explain how the work permits numbers are made up. So for plumbing, sprinkler, standpipe file here, I received 3 separate work permits, and I have PL, SP, ST at the end, and it's my initial, so I have I1 before that. If I add on a subsequent for antenna, the filing number doesn't change, but it says S1 and then AN. Same thing if I added on another work type, it says S2, but now MS for mechanical. And then if I did a structural job, it'll have SC, S3 at the end there. Don't forget that it expires earliest date of any of the insurances there. And we also now offer automatic extensions for those permits free of charge. You just send it to us at least 5 days in advance, and we will extend it automatically if you renew it before the expiration date. Your work permit number, however, would not change. You would just see a new sequence number when you get to your work permits tab. Let's take an example for that plumbing at the end there. I renewed it 4 times, so I see a 4 in the sequence column. While we're talking about work permits, I'm going to go on to AHVs. You need an AHV permit if you're doing work before 7 a.m. but after 6 p.m. or on the weekend. It could only be requested by the licensed master plumber, fire suppression contractor, or general contractor that was listed on the initial permit. And we ask that you make this application at least 2 days before your first intended work day. I have a scenario here to help you understand that the work permit must be related to the scope of work. So meet Carl. He has a general construction, mechanical, structural, and plumbing job filing. So he has 4 work permits. However, he wants to do work 2 days, next 2 nights, consisting of mechanical and plumbing. So what should he do? He requests 2 separate work permits, one for the mechanical work and one for the plumbing work. And then I have a note here to remind you that your AHV must be related to the specific work permit you're working on, you're doing work for. So how you do that? You do all of this online, you pay it online as well. Once your request is approved, the daily fee will be calculated. You'll click pay now. Once it says permit issued, you'd head to your My AHV Work Permits tab and you would scroll across and click print AHV permit. So again, L2, sorry. I just have to go back. L2s are also available in the system as of July 1st. You would be able to submit an L2 request for any work without permit violation, only for filings that has been created in the system as of July 1st. So if you had an existing file and you're trying to do an L2 on it before July 1st, it wouldn't work, only for files that created in the system as of July 1st. The next couple of slides are just some guidelines around L2s, so you could read up on these at your own time. We have this PowerPoint also of the video available in the resources, so you could print a copy if you need to and read it. We do not accept L2s for LEG, SWBC, and SWOE, and you would pay those fees actually for L2 in person as you will, as you used to. That's the only fee that we don't collect as well in DOB Now Build. So where it had that select action column on the dashboard, that's where you would scroll across and actually see that request L2. PAAs. So the rules for the PAA did not change, but it's just how you're doing it. Again, it's the same, so only one PAA could be in progress at a time, only be filed by the applicant, must be filed by the same applicant of record as the original filing. And when I was completing the original job filing, I said that you enter the comments on the bottom of that PW1 section I had there. I just have a little cartoon to go over the structure. So you have the initial job filing with I1, and then I did a PA, so the number didn't change, but now it says P1. That got approved. I added on a subsequent, and I did 2 PAs, so you could have a number of PAs on a job filing. So that's what I was just trying to show you here. Notice just the ending changes. Let's just skip forward too quickly there. So again, the system will tell you what you can and cannot change when you're doing the PAA, so you won't be able to change any of these fields, and it will be grayed out or read only. And then if you're trying to determine if you need a AI1 form or a PAA form, the plan examiner will help you understand that. And you would submit that AI1 form on DOB Now Help, and I'll show you where that is in a bit. The fees didn't change. If it's more money, you could pay that online. If it's less and you need a refund, you would also submit that refund form to customer service. So again, back out on the dashboard, you would locate the job file, you would scroll across to the select action column, select PA, make your changes, and then submit it to DOB. So we touched on subsequents before. Again, remember, it's after it has been approved, but before LOC is issued. That's when you could do a subsequent job filing. Remember that you could group plumbing, sprinkler, and standpipe together, or fence, scaffold, and shed together. All of the rest, you have to do it if you do not separately. If you do not want to wait, you could file separately and then tag the job where I showed you that additional information section was. So this is just a cartoon again to go over how it works. I had my initial with plumbing and sprinkler. I added in my I added in a PAA, that ending didn't change, and I added on 2 subsequents before the initial was signed off. I kept the same job number, so when I search now, I would see all of these filings come up once I enter that number. LOC. So your status, once your status has changed to LOC, you'd see a print letter of completion out there. And you could also do this from out on the dashboard as well, and from in the public portal. So as I go onto the public portal next, I will show you how you can view all of these. Again, you'd locate the job filing, and you will locate the job filing and scroll across to the select action column, and you could print from there as well. So let's talk about things not available in DOB Now. We have withdrawal, supersede, and EI1 especially. And these forms, you could find it out on nyc.gov/DOBNowHelp. And we have a shortcut to that, so now I'll just show you that quickly, where that is and how it works. So here I'm going to just zoom out. At the bottom of this page is where you see shortcuts to those forms. You download those forms, complete it, and then you'd select build. Let's do structural, and let's say we want to do a supersede. You search by your method, and then you choose file to upload that form you completed after you scan it and save it on your computer. So let's talk about the public portal before we close. So the public portal, you can access any information about a job filing. You could print your work permit, PW3, and so forth from within the public portal, and I would show you how that is done. And I would do that when I come out of this PowerPoint. Just a reminder again, if you're still with me, at the end of this session, you'd be able to find all of these resources, all of these videos out on DOB Now info. And if you want to submit any inquiry or any form that's not available on DOB Now Build, you would go to nyc.gov/DOBNowHelp to do so. At the bottom of the nyc.gov/DOB Now, you'd also find those resources. So now I'm going to just head to the public portal, and I would close. Thank you for staying with me if you still are thus far. So I'm going to open this same tab, and I'm going to click back, and I would show you how that public portal works. Again, this video is available out on YouTube. I just recap the slides so people who didn't attend the webinar or watch this video. So I'm just going to fast forward before I actually get into it. All right, so at the bottom of where I was, you can search by address, bin, borrow, block, and lot, device or licensee search. Here I'm going to actually do it by address for my example. So I'm going to use that same address that I've been using, which is 110 Maple Parkway, Staten Island. And here I see the property profile once successfully entered, and my build and safety job filings at the end. I'll click build, and you could also filter these by work types as well. So there's a filter here. I'm going to just click mechanical. I'm going to open a job filing, and it's like a miniature version of what you saw me create within the system. If I head to the scope of work section, I'll be able to print my CUC from within there. It pops up like this. So you could print your work permit also from here, your LOC also from here. So this is my work permit and so forth. So you'd head to your LLC tab if you need to print your LLC. And then you have safety there to the end if needed. So thanks for watching and staying with me. We just went over all of the differences between current versus future. We identified the filing review types. I did a steel and a concrete job filing, and I went through all of the other guidelines that affects all work types actually in DOB Now build. You could submit your questions to the help desk or call us. Your feedback is greatly appreciated so we can make these sessions become much better in the future. Thank you. I'm Tamika. You could also register for industry sessions on our nyc.gov/DOB Now help form as well.